In the following section, you will learn what Eureka Discovery Service is, how to create and how to start up your own Discovery Service. When working with Eureka Discovery Service, reading its documentation, or when discussing it with your team members, you might hear that it is also referred to as Spring Cloud Netflix Eureka. And this is because Eureka Discovery Service is actually a project that Netflix has built for their own needs and until now is actively using it. And I'm sure you have heard of Netflix. They are a very popular movie streaming service, and today lots of people in the world use Netflix to watch movies at home. So Netflix has built Eureka for their own needs, and later Eureka project became part of Spring Cloud, and it is now being used not only by Netflix, but also by thousands of other developers around the world. So what does Eureka do? Eureka helps microservices find each other. Let's say we have a client application, like for example a mobile application, and let's say we have a microservice and it is called products microservice. So if a client application wants to communicate with our products microservice, it needs to know its address. And the address usually looks like a domain name or an IP address and then the port number. So for a client application to be able to send a HTTP request to products microservice, it needs to know the address so that it can send a HTTP request to it. So what we can do here is we can hard code the address of products microservice in our client application, and then our mobile application will be able to communicate with products microservice just fine. But what if we need to scale this up and start more instances of products microservice? Please note that each additional instance of products microservice will need to start up on its own port number, which means a different address. Our mobile application does not know these new port numbers, and it will not be able to send HTTP requests to these new instances of products microservice. It will continue to communicate with only one address of products microservice that it is aware of, which is port number 8080. And here comes Eureka Discovery Service. When each instance of products microservice starts up, it will register itself with Eureka Discovery Service. So Eureka will know the address of each microservice, and if there are 3 instances of products microservice, Eureka will know the address of each of them. When a new instance of products microservice starts up, it will register with Eureka itself. You do not need to open Eureka configuration file and manually add a location of new microservice to it. So if a load on your application increases and you need to start up 10 more instances of products microservice, then you can easily do that. And each new microservice will register with Eureka itself, and Eureka will know where it is located. It will know which IP address and which port number to use. Similarly, when you do not need so many instances of products microservice, you can stop some of them. And when you stop the not needed microservices, the relocation will be removed from Eureka automatically. You do not need to update configuration files manually. So this helps you to quickly scale up your application up and down as needed without manually configuring and removing the location of each microservice from Eureka Discovery. Then we add into our architecture API gateway and a load balancer. Eureka service will tell our API gateway about the location of each instance of products microservice. Our client application will then need to communicate with products microservice via API gateway. It will send a HTTP request to products microservice, and since API gateway now knows that there are more than one instance of products microservice running, and this is thanks to Eureka, the load balancer client of our API gateway will then balance the load among these microservices as needed. And I'll show you how to configure Eureka and how to configure your microservices to work together. And I'll also show you how to make it work together with API Gateway as we move on. Alright, so let's continue.